Mary Beth with Thorngren Studio Arts for our fourth version of From the Garden. Today we're doing heirloom tomatoes, and I'll be honest, they didn't come from my garden. And Kroger did a great job growing them. I chose them for their colors and their unusual shapes. People probably look at me at the grocery store and wonder what the heck I'm doing, as I'm actually putting the still life together in the store. But I've gone ahead today and have a jump start. We're going to do something different. Instead of a light wash on the 8x10 canvas, I've done a heavier coat, just a normal coat of paint in a light pink. And the reason I chose light pink, because when I look very closely at these colors, the reds and the yellows and the oranges on this white fabric, if I squint closely enough, I can see like a pink cast to the shadows, and I thought that was going to be really different. And so what I'm going to let you do is use a large brush and alizarin crimson and white, and you're going to squeeze out about a quarter amount of paint, quarter size, and you're not going to use so much alizarin crimson. You're going to use a little more of the titanium to get this nice pink. Go ahead and coat your canvas. Should take about 10 minutes to dry. And during that time, you can pause the video and be gathering the rest of your colors. So we've got burnt sienna, deep violet, cadmium orange, green, and this is a hooker's green, and cadmium yellow and cadmium red. I've got them laid out in the order in which they will be applied to the canvas. Big brush for your background. Then you're going to start in, and this is up to you. I sketched in the tomatoes, very sketchy, loose, with a thin angled brush with burnt sienna. You can also use a pencil, that's just your choice. So to get started, I've done a sketch, and what I'm going to do, and I've got a medium-sized brush, I'm going to dip it in the water, go into my white and pull out. And as you'll remember, we start from the top to the bottom, to the back to the front. So I'm going to start my background, and I'm just going to paint over this pink around my objects, remembering that the area around the object is the negative space, and the objects itself are the positive. Notice my brush strokes, quick, easy application, fairly thick. You're going to get used to that ratio of how much water to add and how much paint. If you think about maybe percentage-wise, let's think about maybe 30% water and the rest paint. Nice squares, X's. And then as I come down around my objects into the foreground, this is going to be different. I'm going to paint out the shadows. Carve them out is what I call it. Carving out is a deductive way of painting, and leave the pink as your shadow. So I'm looking at my still life. I'm just going to sketch this in. Start to feel that drag. I need more paint. X's. going to go ahead and take that white off, pulling it off with my paper towel before I put it in the water. Now, I've got burnt sienna, my next color. I'm gonna mix with the purple, the deep violet. That's a really pretty mixture. Pulling it out. I'm gonna go in and just sketch out the interiors. I'm gonna do some shading where I see the darker parts. Just plopping it in, painting what I see by looking at the still life. Notice I'm adding a little more to the bottom. Showing some weight, some mass. Okay. Now, my next color is the cadmium orange. I'm going to pull that out and I'm going to mix that with this mixture that I had right before, the violet and the burnt sienna. Pulling out. Same brush, didn't have to clean it. Quickly, add that where I see it. Plopping it in. Okay. Now, I'm going to, I think I'm going to clean this off a little bit and head into this green part of my middle tomato. Green into the yellow, nice mixture. I'm going to put a little tiny bit of white in there. Very painterly. My strokes are very loose. My application is very direct. It's what we call the Alla Prima, first stroke. A lot of my blending I'm doing on the canvas, taking advantage of the wetness, working fast. I'm able to do that. Pull off a little bit and add a little more yellow to my mixture. Taking advantage of that, pulling it down. Look at how easily that blends if I work fast enough. Now, if you're not able to work fast enough, that's fine. There are ways to keep your palette wet. May have not spoken about this before, but if you pull out enough paint, like a quarter size amount, you can also give a nice little mist to your paints, keep them fresh, keep them fluid. A little bit there. I'm not so concerned about the stems yet. I'm gonna save those for last so that I've got all the nice highlights and everything, so I don't have to work around. Pull off. Now I've got my yellow. I'm gonna pull that out over here in a clean place. Add a little white. Direction of my strokes, they're going outward, blending outwards, following the angles of this particular a different shape, not exactly round. It's flat edges. Try to see where you can get the color overall as you work. The whole painting will come to the completion altogether, not just one piece. Very important. So I'm getting to the point where I want to add, this is going to go very quickly for you. If you follow my lead and just not worry about the exactness, we're getting just a very loose sketch with the paint. I've added white onto here. I'm just going to plop in the highlights where I see them. And if you've seen any of the other prior videos, you'll know that my objective is to get everything covered. And then I can look and see where I need more time to slow down once I get it all covered, and I can start refining the edges, cleaning up the edges. When I say that, this is what I mean. I can go back in, say for instance, this rough edge here, I can redraw it. Don't ever feel like you're not allowed to redraw and change things. That's one of the neat things about acrylic, is that it is very forgiving. You can change it, paint over it. I'm just starting to paint in some of these middle pieces, the stems, cleaning up the edges. Now my assistant Adrienne, she's going to be starting the same still life with a background that has been painted yellow, light yellow. Very heavy, not a wash, and so we'll see what she comes up with. And while she's doing her painting, I'm going to refine and complete this, and it will be shown at the end along with hers. Thank you so much.